Hi, I'm Mark Medina, and I'm making this video to show the differences between the two different intakes used on the 4-age Toyota engine used in the MR2. The original intake is this one, what they call the TVIS intake, and you can see the 8 runners that feed 4 cylinders in the engine. It has 8 runners because one runner for each cylinder is blocked off at low RPM by this TVIS plate that looks like that when it's closed, and then at high RPM and under load these open so that you get full flow through all 8 holes. And a lot of people look at this and say, oh gee, those are some big holes, it must flow very well. The problem is, on this side of the intake where you see the casting, there's the problem. The runners are real nice for about this far, and after that this section is extremely narrow. This casting is about 3/8 thick in between the port walls, which means this whole area here is all filled in, and it's actually so small in this area that my pinky barely fits in between. So while it looks like you've got a lot of flow down here, in this curve, which is a large section of the intake, you actually have very poor flow. I don't think that I can really look inside here very much. I'm gonna try. You can see that rectangular shape of the openings. That's about twice the opening that you actually get once you're in the curve part of the manifold right down here. Now, by contrast, this is a modified version of the small port intake. I modified this so that it could bolt onto the big port head without having a vacuum leak. I did that by filling it in with epoxy, as you can see, and that's what the bottom of it looks like. It's not real pretty, but it worked. Didn't have any problems with it. And as you can see, this whole area would have all been wide open and the engine would not have run. Now if you look at the two of these side by side, actually I'll just turn it upside down so we have them nice and close to each other. You can see there's a pretty big difference in the width of the ports. Well, you can also see that from the gasket markings on my modified version. But what you do get in the small port intake is only a 90-degree turn instead of a turn where the runners go backwards and then turn forward again. And also, the small port intake, well, I wish you could see in there better, but you can tell by the back. Again, you have that same large casting split down the center, but you're only talking about 4 runners, not 8. So the actual volume of the runner through here is almost 2 fingers wide. So that makes it, let's see here, we're saying a good inside, that's about the wall thickness. So about 1.25 inches, sorry, there we go, about 1.25 inches wide, and as you can see, front to back here, with casting thickness included, about 1.75 inches, sorry, filming my foot, about 1.75 inches front to back. So you end up with a much smoother flowing, smoother transitioning manifold with this than you do with the TVIS intake. And actually, to try and get you a better shot of just how good this looks inside, even though it's pretty dirty, I'm going to come in here and see if my light will help. Not too much. Alright,